Hey guys, welcome back to another video. My name is Shaban and I'm a third year medical student studying at King's College London. And in today's video, I'm going to talk to you about the IB program or the International Baccalaureate Diploma program. So we're going to talk about what this program is, what it entails, and we're definitely going to discuss whether or not you should pursue it. That'll involve talking about everything from whether it's useful for the university you're applying to whether or not you're a fit for the program based on your personality and the way you learn. But before we get into this video, I want you to go check out my YouTube channel, because over there I make videos on medical school and university. So we have videos on medical school life, university life, how to get into medical school, how to get into university, all of that. So go check it out, and if you find it interesting and you think it's something you like, then definitely smash that subscribe button and join me for a lot more. So without any further ado, let's get into this video. So firstly, we have to talk about what the IB program is. So essentially it's a 2-year program that you would pursue in your 11th and 12th grade, or if you're talking in UK terms, that's year 12 and year 13. In the IB, you have to take 6 subjects, 3 at a higher level, 3 at a standard level, and they're all scored out of 7. In addition, you also have to do a module on the theory of knowledge, as well as write an extended essay of 4,000 words on a subject of your choosing. And together, all of this sums up to a total of 45 points, which is what you're scored out of in the IB. The IB is considered to be a very rigorous and competitive program and is usually looked upon in high regard by most universities, whether they're in the UK, the US, Canada, wherever. But there are certain exceptions to this where IB may not be a great fit for your university. But we'll get more into that later. Now let's move on to looking at what your considerations will be when deciding whether or not to take the IB program. Firstly, you want to look at what your alternatives are. APs, A-levels, if you're in India, CBSE or ISC. What's the difference between IB and these alternatives? You want to figure that out for each one of them, and you want to figure out what added benefit IB gives you, because all of these are different. All of these will share some components with IB, and all of these will have some differences when you're comparing IB with these boards. But you mainly want to look at which one is most advantageous for achieving your particular goals in the future. So that moves us on to second big consideration, considering whether or not the IB is useful to the particular university you are applying to. If you're applying to universities in the US, the IB will definitely have an added benefit. Many students in the US do the IB, so it's something that they're quite familiar with and something that they can sort of, judge well. And also it's considered a competitive and a rigorous sort of a school board in the US, so it'll definitely be beneficial. Even in the UK, IB is on par with A-levels, and every single university in the UK considers the IB. I think it's pretty similar for Canada and most foreign universities. But if you're in a country like India, there are many universities that may not accept the IB program, or their timelines may not match with the IB program, because it's quite different. Because for Indian school boards, you'll be giving your final exams or board exams in Feb, March, but for the IB, you're giving your exams in May. You'd also want to consider whether it's beneficial for the course you're applying to. If you have a really specific course and you're decided on pursuing a particular thing, then maybe the IB is not so great, considering you have to take so many different subjects, and especially if your course has an entrance exam. For example, if you're looking to study medicine in India and you have to take the NEET exam, then the IB is probably not great for that, because you are not studying all 3 sciences in IB. You don't have biology, chemistry and physics. You can only take 2 of these. Unless you go ahead with an irregular diploma or you take an extra subject or something like that, you'll have to work around it. And also the IB final exams often collide with the date of the NEET. Additionally, the NEET is based on the CBSE syllabus, so doing the IB program would not be beneficial with that. So it's those kind of things that you want to consider. Then you also want to look at what you studied before the IB? So till 10th grade or till year 11, what were you studying? Was it IGCSE? Was it again CBSE or ISC? Was it just your your country's sort of board or whatever school board or school curriculum they offer? What was it? Was it the middle years program that the IB offers? There are many different things that it could be, and depending on which one you did, you want to consider what you want to move forward with, because whichever one you've been doing till now, whichever curriculum you've been studying till now, has equipped you with certain skills, and you'd have a certain comfort with it, which probably means that you'd perform better in a similar curriculum, or you're well equipped to perform well in the same or a similar curriculum. But for some people, it could also be that the school board they've been studying in till now has not been suited to them at all. So they're definitely looking for a change. So suppose you've been studying in the IB middle years program, and that's not been working out that well for you. You don't think the curriculum is well suited to you. Maybe you'd consider not pursuing IB. But if you've been doing IGCSEs and you feel like those really suit you, then maybe you'd want to consider pursuing A-levels. And just like that, you want to sort of base your decision a bit off of what you've prepped for so far. You also want to consider whether you're applying internationally or not. If you're applying internationally, this kind of depends on what country you're in, but if you're applying internationally, the IB is always beneficial because it's a pretty widely accepted board in most Western countries. So definitely the UK, US, Canada will accept the IB in all their universities, and it's also accepted by all the universities in Australia, and you can be pretty sure that you won't have any problems with it in that sense. It's also considered a competitive board by all these countries, so you'll have some sort of benefit there. And if you're not just looking at the direct benefit IB gives you, it also gives you a bit of an indirect benefit. That's preparing you for life as a university student abroad, because the way university courses are taught in most of these countries is very similar to the way IB is taught and the way IB is structured. So definitely a lot of the skills you acquire in IB, such as analytical thinking, coursework based modules, and essay writing, and all these things will definitely benefit you when you go to university. You'd also be juggling many different subjects and subjects from different disciplines, and that's another really beneficial thing as well. The IB is also really helpful if you're undecided, so you don't know what you want to pursue yet, because you can choose subjects from many different disciplines. So you can choose maths, you can choose economics, you can choose physics, and you can take English along with art and Spanish, for example. So you have so many different subjects that you're doing in IB. You have to choose a few to do at high level, but suppose you're going to the US, that does not restrict you from going into something else. You can always change your major later on, and since you've done the IB, you'll be well equipped for that because you have done all these subjects at a high level in your 11th and 12th grade. The IB gives you that flexibility to sort of be able to do something else and not have to decide exactly what path you want to go down after 10th grade or year 11. And the last major consideration, this is going to be a long one, is whether or not your personality and your learning profile or your learning capabilities are suited to IB. So I'm just going to go through these really quickly. So if you're good at analytical thinking and critical thinking and not answering very straightforward questions, then the IB might be good for you. But on the other hand, if you're good at rote learning, memorization, and more straightforward, high content-based exams, content of a large volume-based exams, then maybe you should look at a different curriculum. If you're better at dealing with more difficult questions from a large amount of content, but not as much content, then again, that's something that is definitely there in the IB. But if you're better at dealing with very large volumes of content but not that difficult questions, like a set pattern of questions, then maybe go for a different sort of board. If you're good at essay writing, then the IB is definitely well suited to you, because there's a lot of essay writing. In every subject you'll have an internal assessment, and in pretty much every subject you have to write some sort of an essay or research sort of paper which involves a lot of writing. So if your writing skills are good, if essay writing is something you're good at or is something you want to work on, the IB is the place for you. But if you're someone who focuses all their sort of is really good, or their strength is doing well at exams, that's going to be useful in the IB, but it may be more useful in a different board where exams hold more weightage, because in the IB exams hold between 50 to 80% of the actual weightage, whereas internal assessments can hold 20 to 50% of the weightage as well. One other thing to note is that the IB is very useful if you're applying to a university that gives a high weightage to your high school marks or your high school scores, and it may not be that useful if you're applying to a place where entrance exams or a different part of your application has a lot of weightage, because the IB really takes a lot of your focus and it takes up a lot of your time. So it's difficult to really focus on things or big academic commitments outside the IB. So if you're writing an entrance exam, you may be suited to a less sort of restricting board, or one that has less things going on. And I mentioned this many times, the IB is holistic, many different subjects, whereas something like A levels or something like ISC or CBSE, which are Indian boards, would be much more subject specific. So you can actually choose a stream in Indian boards, whether you want to do science, commerce, humanities, and in A levels obviously you only have to take 3 subjects of your choosing, and you'd usually pick the ones that would be most applicable to you. So if you really know what you want to do, and you really know what subjects you need for that, then maybe you don't need to take all the extra subjects by doing the IB. But anyway, that was a lot of information, a lot of stuff to consider, so definitely do have a think about all of it. And I don't know, don't base your decision entirely upon this. Definitely go and explore this curriculum more with your school or the school you're looking to take it up in, because me sitting here and talking about it, sure, it can give you an idea of what it's like, but definitely you need some first-hand experience and some sort of expertise on it, because I've gone through the IB and I can only speak from my experience and what I've learned throughout the process of my IB diploma and my college applications. But I hope all of this is a pretty helpful start or a good insight, and if it was, do be sure to drop a like down below on this video and smash that subscribe button. Leave any comments you want to leave down below, asking me any questions or queries or anything like that, and also do share the video with your other friends in high school considering the IB, or just people who you think this might be useful to. And with that, I will see you in the next one.